Welcome back to Memory Lane Motorworks. Another beautiful Ohio summer day and another rescue. Before we get to that though, there's a theme for the day. I have a question for you. I want you to write a theme.
I want you to write a theme.
No, I'm just kidding. What do you think of when you hear the term local hero? Now, first of mention would of course be our boys in blue, our local fire departments, our nursing staff, hospital staff, all emergency workers, especially the last couple years here. They definitely get first right of mention. But this video's not about any of that. What else comes to mind when you hear the term local hero? How about those ladies and gentlemen that put on a fire suit and a helmet every weekend and pack grandstands all around this great nation every Friday, Saturday night? I'm talking about dirt track racing. I'm talking about a local hobby that's been around for a long time. I'm talking ticket sales, local funding, dirt in your face, all of it. But what happens when these local tracks start shutting down? What happens when life gets in the way and you have to step away from hobbies and things you love in order to take care of everything else that happens in life? That kind of sets the tone for today. We are on our way to meet my friend Mason, who was a very avid dirt track racer 10-15 years ago and had to get away from the hobby for one reason or another. He's still got a car, but it's been sitting in the weeds for many years. But not for much longer. Let's dig in. Off-roading again. here's a 1985 Monte Carlo SS race car. Let's see what's going on under the hood. It's still got a motor in it. This is supposed to be a 400 small block. Until HEI. What used to be a carbureted setup, of course. Alright, here today, we're going to go for a parts list. Everything we might need to get this thing up and going again. Then maybe get it pulled out of the weeds. Let's see what we got to work with. This is Mason. How you doing today, buddy?
Pretty good.
Good, man. This is Mason's car. What year is it again?
This, I believe, was an 84.
84.
84 Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo SS.
Yeah, I've had two or three of them. 83, 85 years.
They all kind of look the same anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. You raced it for 8 or so years?
Well, this particular car, I think I raced probably about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had another one, I think it was an 85. When I first started, I started out with an 83. The
Okay.
first year I raced.
Mm-hmm.
And second year I went to Caprice. I didn't like the Caprice. Too big.
Big of a car, yeah.
Yeah. So then the third year, threw the engine and everything out of the Caprice back in a small car. Very first race I won.
Nice.
And I thought I'm sticking with the metric chassis because they're easier to
A little more
fast.
predictable on the dirt track and a little lighter and a little more nimble. And
yeah, to me it is.
everybody's got their preference, yeah.
But yeah, this was I think it's just, I built a few of them. This is probably like the 6th or 7th car I had to.
Okay. So you race 10 or 15 years total then, somewhere around there?
Roughly 9 years.
9 years,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
I ended up winning, like 3 championships, a second, and 3 third place finishes in the points for the year. And a couple years I didn't make all the races, so I didn't finish as well in the points.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the first year was a 83 Monte Carlo.
Okay.
I remember my very first crash, and I thought, boy, that was fun.
Had to go back and do it again, huh?
Yeah. Well, I had the car fixed, a couple fenders put on it for the next week, and got back at it. So.
Well, you've told me at least a dozen stories about your race tracking and stuff. Maybe not this car specifically, but ones like it.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get into a few of those, but maybe we'll see if there's something left of this one first.
Yeah, like I say, this one, it ran when I parked it here. It seemed like either the starter was going bad or the motor was just getting tight.
Okay.
So, like I say, I was kind of at the end there because a lot of rules change and things like that, and sometimes you just got to step back.
Yeah.
Plus I felt it was time to really move up classes, but yet I'm not going to mortgage the farm to do that.
Yeah, that's when it starts getting really expensive.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let me see if I can get in here.
So this would be a 400 small block then?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Will it free up? There it was.
It moved.
Okay.
It moved a little more.
Well, that's half the battle right there. Perfect.
Yeah, I think we can get it to roll over, and like I say, I'll have to. Let me see if I can tell if the starter's still on it.
Okay. And maybe we can get a bit of a.
No, there's no starter on it.
Okay.
So I'll have to.
That'll be the start of our parts list, and we'll need a starter.
Fuel line's been probably just rotted in half.
It could be.
Here, we can look in the tank. I got a carburetor and stuff in the shed.
Okay. Starter, carburetor, battery, of course. Probably got one of those laying around, don't you? From we could borrow.
I'll borrow one out of something else.
Okay.
Just to see.
Yeah.
If it'll fire.
So you got a fuel tank sitting there, but I'm sure maybe you got a fuel cell sitting around or something.
It should still have the one in it.
Oh, okay.
Find out. Pretty sure it does.
Benefit to those are usually aluminum or whatnot, so we won't have to deal with the rotted out fuel tank or whatnot.
Yeah, there's a fuel cell.
Oh, okay. We got a steel one, but yeah, it still looks in pretty good shape.
Looks like the squirrels and mice were kind of hungry and ate some fuel lines up. I don't think that rear end will be very much good. I'll have to do something with that.
So we might need a rear end when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's a little too dirty.
Well, yeah, we still, if we could get it running and maybe thinking about moving and then move to stuff like that. You said the car's been sitting since 2012, 11?
I believe it was 2010 was the last year I raced.
Okay.
And, see, my recollection, I think that was the last year we actually raced the car.
Okay.
Like I say, the rules changed because I'm not sure what year Lakeville had basically shut down.
Yeah.
You know, property went up for sale and somebody else bought it and had no interest in
running a dirt track.
Yeah, remaining a racetrack. So there's really nothing there now. No stands, no track.
Not much at all.
Yeah.
You know. And that was your favorite track to race?
Oh yeah, because it was only 1.5 miles from here.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
That was kind of nice to be able to get off work and be at the racetrack in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the next one's not that close. The next closest one's not that close at all.
No, between Wayne County and Hilltop, I think they're probably about the same distance for me.
Gotcha.
Either way, you know. So, but those tracks really didn't run this class.
Okay.
On occasion, they did, but it wasn't a weekly points races.
Gotcha.
You know.
So what class did you run with this car?
This was basically, Lakeville called it the cruiser class.
Cruiser. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of other tracks might call them a bomber class.
Okay.
You know.
Gotcha.
Basically just your stock V8. You know, supposed to be stock.
Yeah. As much of the rules as you can then get away with, and everybody was doing that.
That's what everybody does.
Yeah,
you always push the rules.
So you got a stock car, you can put a cage in it for safety, whatnot, fuel cell for safety. Got it, of course, no windows or anything.
Right. I always kept, of course, you can see this is where the battery would originally sit.
Okay.
Strapped down real good. They don't really specify then, anyway, where the battery needed to be. Other than not in the engine compartment.
Gotcha.
When I raced at Wayne County, it was a different car than this. I had it in the back, you know, where the back seat goes. The floor pan has that belly in it, and I had it clamped down in there. But when I flipped that car, it was such a violent jerk that it just ripped the battery out, sheared the posts off the top, and yeah, when I got out of the car, it was upside down. I see my battery laying on the track beside it. So it might have hit me in the head. I don't know.
So after that, you decided this would probably be a safer spot for you or whatever.
Yeah.
Strap it down better.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna hit you. If it hits you in the head from back here, there's something really went wrong.
And that's another reason to have your, you know, have everything enclosed, so you know, keeps debris out if you rupture a tank or something. Which I know, you don't really want your battery close to your fuel cell, but
where else you gonna put it, right?
Like I say, as long as I got it clamped down in there real good, it isn't going to go anywhere.
Okay.
And that's another reason to make sure your cables aren't shorting out or anything like that to create any sparks.
Gotcha.
In case you do have a fuel leak. But the way these cells are made, they go upside down. They got a tip valve in them.
Okay.
To prevent the fuel from running out your vent or something.
That makes perfect sense. A good safety measure there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big benefit we have on this car, if it was a regular factory car that was sitting in the weeds for this long, the frame, there might not be much left of it, but this thing is so reinforced.
Right.
Yeah, it should be good to go.
Right, and it was always the back rails here that would rot out, and
that was the problem area on the G-bodies.
And if you get hit in the tail without your bars or anything, it's just going to collapse your trunk and get to your fuel cell. So
gotcha.
That's another reason I just put the box tubing in to the frame, and of course you stabilize it to where you can get hit pretty hard and nothing's really going to move.
Okay. You do all your welding yourself?
Yeah.
Did you really? My goodness. That looks good.
It's been a while, but...
See, I can make two pieces of metal stick together, but it looks a little more like bubble gum.
Well,
And this doesn't look like bubble gum at all, Mason. You did a good job.
Sometimes you put the paint on thick enough, it hides a lot of ugly stuff.
That's what they make Bondo and paint for, right?
But no, after, you know, when I first got started, I realized, you know, the importance of safety. And plus, when you build a car, you want it to be able to take a hit. You know, that way, you know, just because you get a bent fender or something doesn't rub against your tires and put you out of the race.
Right.
It's kind of nice to have a car that'll hold up with a rolling demo derby, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
That's what it gets to be.
But the flip side of that is if you build your car too heavy, now you're no longer competitive because it's so heavy and stuff, right? So you're walking a line there, aren't you?
Well, that can be.
Okay.
This class really wasn't as regulated as, say, some of your other, whether it's a pure stock, street stock.
Okay.
There are minimum weight requirements on some of those classes.
Okay.
I mean, you always want to build them as light as you can and then add weight if you have to. But you don't really want to build a real heavy car and have more weight than you need and not be able to get rid of it.
So when you take your car to the track, they put it on scales then to check for...
Not this class.
Okay.
Like I say, this class is just basically a bomber budget class.
Gotcha.
We were supposed to be stock, and like I say, the first year I started racing, I really didn't know what I was getting into.
Nobody ever does. First time doing anything, yeah.
But when I'm sitting there in my stock, I think it was a 305 or something at the time, and, you know, because I always try to abide by the rules.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that just don't work out too well. You get run over.
It's like anything else, you get in and you find out what the base rules are,
right?
And then you find out what everybody else is doing and getting away with, and well, you got to be competitive.
Yeah, yeah. And myself, I'm not the kind to say I'm complaining about what somebody else is doing. I'll just do what I have to do to compete.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's all there was to it. But when I get in my car and, you know, I know I've got a stock engine, and I hear the guy I'm racing with fire his up, and it's sitting there rumbling and carrying.
You got a hog leg cam in it.
You know, that's not stock.
No, it's not.
But like I say, the first year, it was really pretty intense for me. I remember the first race, I was scared to death. I was trying to think of an excuse not to go out because I'm sitting in line and all these cars running around me. I'm thinking, what I get myself into?
That had to be a bit of an adrenaline rush, though, too.
It was.
Yeah.
But after the cars started rolling, I rolled out with them. You know, it didn't take long. Just have fun. You know, go out and have fun.
And you were hooked after that.
Yeah, I've always just had a thing for wheels, I guess. You know.
Yeah.
Growing up, like I say, it just fit. It just fit. I knew that. I didn't want to wait till I was in my 60s, which I'm not too far from that, but I didn't want to wait until I was in my 60s and wish I would have done something.
Right.
So I started racing when I was 31, you know, and like I say, I raced the full seasons. I'm going to say, I believe it was eight full seasons, you know, to where I made every race. And, started realizing racing isn't just about going out and for one race, you know. It's like a lot of other sports. There's a season championship, and you want to be consistent. And you know, I held my ground.
Yeah.
You know, the first year I actually missed, I think, 2 races, so that automatically takes you out of points.
Does it really?
In a sense, you know. I mean, unless you have everybody else that misses 2 races. When you realize what it's about, then it's like you don't want to miss any races. So I started focusing on making every race the following season. You know, and I think the second season I finished like 3rd in the points, and we had an average of 35 cars a week trying to make the A main.
Oh wow!
And you know, a lot of times if you didn't make it through the heat race, they would have a B main. It'd take like 4 or 5 cars out of that to make the A main.
Okay.
And I managed to make all A main features. Whether you want to call it luck or whatever. Beginner's luck.
Maybe a little bit of skill in there.
It does take a little bit of skill too.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot the first year, and more of what racing's really about. And I had a lot of fun. You know, I had a lot of fun doing it. And
obviously you had a lot of wins as a as a driver too.
Yeah,
it worked out for you as well, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So.
Right. And when I first started, it was like I would have been happy to even just win a B main. I don't know that I ever won any B mains, but I made the features. It took me, I think, 3 years before I actually got my first feature win. And then then it started coming. You get a little more confidence build up. You get more comfortable, and it got easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like everything else. Yeah. As soon as you get acclimated.
Yeah. The more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah. So this car we got here, is it a winner? You've won races with this one, right?
Yes. Yeah, I don't remember exactly how many races. Like I think the 2010 season I started out there. I wasn't even going to drive the whole year. I told my not this boy, but the other boy I got, Cody. I said, I'll just take it out and see how it runs for you, because a lot of times anybody can come back and tell you, well, it's doing this or that, but unless you drive it yourself, hear the engine, know the engine, it's really hard to say what tuning you need to do.
When I turn wrenches professionally, I couldn't say it better myself. Anybody could explain for me hours what their car's doing, but till I take it down the road.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
And after sitting all winter after '09, we put a new set of spark plugs in it and took it racing. The wife's like, why are you taking that old piece of junk over there? You ain't going to win with it. Well, I won the first 3 heats and the first 3 features of the year, so...
So we got a winning car right here then.
Yeah, it won some races.
Okay.
It don't look like much right now, but, looks can be deceiving.
It can, absolutely. And I think with any luck, it can see the track again. I'd really like to see that.
It would probably be like enduro races or something, because it wouldn't be suitable for another V8 class anymore, because the rules and everything that have changed. This car would really be too heavy. It's not really set up.
Obsolete be the best word.
Yeah.
It had been inspected 15 years ago, but
yeah, even with a fast engine, it wouldn't be competitive.
Gotcha.
Because of the setups that it takes to actually have a good handling car and a good running car.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make it run good, but if it doesn't handle good,
you're not winning races.
Right.
Yeah.
And but as far as like enduros or something like that, I'm sure I could do that.
Okay.
Get the engine running.
So there is a home for this car on the track still.
If we can find the places that run enduro.
Okay.
Not too many people do that anymore either. And it's usually going to be like a mixed class, or it's like run whatever you bring, whether it's a little minivan or V6
Gotcha.
or V8, which I'd be all right with that, because sometimes it's just fun to go out and drive.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in your own little world.
It's your piece, isn't it?
It
when
is,
you're out on the
is.
track. I get it. Yeah.
You get strapped in, and you get that fire suit on, strapped in, helmet on, gloves, and you almost feel invincible. Until you go upside down.
Right.
Then it's like, oh, I'm helpless now, because...
Well, Mason, you want to pull this thing out of the weeds and see if we can get her going again at least? And
I think we can give it a try.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, well, we might have to clear away. I think I'd probably just pull it out the back here. Did you get that wheel on?
Perfect.
So we might just do that.
All right. We got a lot of work ahead of us to unearth this thing from where it's sitting. So we're gonna get to work on that and see how far we get. Got it.
It's probably like wanting to stretch, like, sunshine.
Been in the woods so long, I don't know what to do now. This is what they call sunlight, huh?
As faded as it is, I'll just have, if I get it running, I can take it out just like that.
I would too. I don't even know if we'd bother pressure washing it or anything.
A ghost car.
That's what I was saying. Absolutely. I think it looks sweet just the way it is. Oh yeah. Definitely a car there to save.
I can make it run again.
Oh, I know you can. Let's do that.
Yeah, I see it. That's a lot of guys only run bars on for their windshields, but when you see coil springs and things like that come bouncing out sometimes, I would rather have a little more than
I don't blame you a bit.
3 bars. If that spring's just right, it's going to come through there.
Yeah.
It might crack your shield on your helmet.
Yeah. Best case scenario there. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, I'd probably run with that too. That's a good safety measure. Yeah, it's really not in that bad a shape.
It's a little beat up. It's got a lot of battle scars.
Yeah, that's where I used to work, right there.
Yeah.
I'll be. My first job out of high school.
Yeah, it's got a lot of battle scars on it.
It definitely looks like you've had some fun with it, man.
I did.
Well, let's see if you can have a little more.
Well, I think it will be.
Still got coolant in it?
It sure does. Look like about half a tank in there.
Sweet. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
We got trans cooler?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, really nice aftermarket aluminum radiator in there. We know it's freed up when we get our parts list together. As far as getting it running, yeah, carburetor, a fuel supply. That HEI is going to work. We already know that.
Right.
So.
That was my favorite part about it.
Yes, sir.
Hook a wire to it and run it.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to need much as far as that goes. And then getting it moving might be a different story, but let's get it running first and then go from there.
Yeah, I guess the mice are going to end up in valves. Look like one of them chewed a hole through there.
They're going to need an eviction notice, aren't they?
Yeah, they'll get it. They'll get it. Oh, I'm going to have to. I might just take a shot vac and try to vacuum that out of there before.
Spread bore on there. Probably a quadrajet or something to go on. Or...
Yeah, actually looking down in here, it don't look like it's rusted much.
No, it doesn't look bad. Just a little nut collection. That's all.
Yeah.
And that'll, like you said, shop vac will take care of that. And whatever's left, the valves will chew it up. They're just nuts.
Yeah, we just want to see if it fires.
The added challenge of something like this is it's not only has it been sitting for 10 to 12 years, but the nature of what it was used for, being a race car, it got rode hard, put away wet many times. So I'm sure bearings are a little tighter than a normal daily driver car or whatnot. So we may have that added challenge as well. But I think we got it.
Yeah, and that's what you call a good year, is when you don't have to do a whole lot to your car throughout the week. I mean, if you don't destroy it, you don't have a lot to do to it for the next race.
Right.
And that's the way the 05 season was. Usually I can just park on the trailer, didn't have to do anything to it, go back the next week.
Just have fun with it.
Yeah, that's the only year I actually made any money.
Gotcha.
Or made more than I spent, just put it
Yeah. Well, we'll get our parts list together, and in the next video up here, we'll get to work on it. And we are back day 2 on the 84 Monte Carlo. Got some parts gathered. Another beautiful day here in Ohio. We're going to see what we can get done. Maybe get this thing fired up today. All right, as you can see, maybe you can't see yet, but you will here in a second. We found a carburetor. What did he find for us? Looks like he's got it bolted down. Quadrajet, maybe? Yes, it is. Alrighty. That'll work. Unknown condition. I don't know what the internals look like. Accelerator pump moves. Seems to be freed up. That's a good sign. Start it off. Looks like he just ran some bolts in. We'll need to tighten that down. Got a spark machine already. Plugs wires. Looks like he found a starter and some bolts. And get that put on. Get a fuel supply to this thing. A battery. And we might be there. I'm gonna start by tightening that carb down. It's like one of those high torque mini starters. Doesn't look that old either. Should do the trick for what we need. Hopefully it works. Alright, next on the list, we got the carb tightened down. Starter's in, still need some wires ran to it. Need to get this fuel line off here. So we can put another fuel line on and run to a probably a gas can at this point. We're going to do that next. Alright, got the clamp loose. Oh, that's brittle. Alright. I got a fix for you. Apparently I need to sharpen my knife. Got it. Alright, next on the list here, got our fuel line ran to our fuel pump. Got a steel line coming up. Where that ends, we have a rubber hose that's seen much better days. Oops. So we're gonna need to replace that hose. This one's stiff as heck, but it might be good enough for what we're doing today. I'll get that fixed next. That should get us fuel, if the fuel pump will work, to the carburetor. And some final connections going on here before we try to fire this thing up. So what are we saying, Mason? 12 years?
12 or 13.
12 or 13 it's been sitting?
I don't recall. The years are flying by.
Yeah, I hear you.
This bolt's probably going to break. I don't know if I can get enough. It looks pretty rusty. I guess that's what happens when you sit around too long.
Yeah, we all get a little rusty every once in a while.
I don't think I can get it stretched. We might be able to get it to... Yeah, we can...
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, it'll make the connection.
Good enough.
Just to see if it'll fire or even crank.
Yeah.
If it'll crank, that's A lot farther than it's been.
Then if it'll spark, and then we'll fix it from there if it starts sparking or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, as long as it cranks, we'll make sure it rolls over real easy enough, and dump a little bit of gas in it.
See what happens. Yeah. That's exciting.
I should go get a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, it might be a good idea. Or you got a fire going over there. I guess if it's bad enough, we just push it over there, right?
Let it burn.
Yeah.
Let it burn. Let me go ahead and get that vacuum line on.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That'll make it run a little better. And an open vacuum port in the back of the carburetor here.
I can get this apart.
Here's the man with the washers. That'd be the missing piece of the puzzle right there.
Put a couple in there. I'm not sure.
That should be perfect. All right. Get this hooked up and see where we're at. All right. So we got her to crank over. Got the distributor hooked up now. We're just gonna guess on we got spark. It's an HEI system, we should. Let's dump some gas down the carb. See if we can get it to bark off for the first time in 12 years. So Mason, you ain't got a throttle cable hooked up to this thing.
No.
You ever have any stories of having to run a car without a throttle cable before? Or?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do. I remember the night I was racing and put the throttle cable in the heat race. Of course, anybody that drives and races, they want to race no matter what.
Right.
I didn't have another cable, but I did have a piece of wire.
Uh-huh.
Ran it through the firewall, tied it to my carburetor, and then tied it around my knee.
Tied it around your knee?
To try to, but like I say, you're used to pushing down to go fast,
right?
Not pull back. So I was trying to get used to pulling the knee back to drive, to give it gas, and eventually the wire come unhooked, and but I started the feature.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. I wanted to get a little bit of money back, so. And that's what you do,
You got to go out there and do whatever you can, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you got to improvise.
Yeah.
Every time I want to go fast, I'm used to pushing down.
Yeah.
Not pulling back.
Not pulling back.
I just lost my coordination.
I believe it. That'd be different, that's for sure.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Yes, sir.
Tried it.
All right, gas is going in.
Oh, spiders are coming out.
Spiders are coming out.
It's going somewhere.
They're about to get an eviction notice anyways.
Yeah, they might go out through the exhaust.
Who knows what's going to come flying
It'll
out of
probably
this thing.
shoot some walnuts and other nuts that the squirrels like to gather. Whatever else got dropped into the intake.
All right, we ready?
Well, our wire's hooked up.
Or not yet?
We can wait. We'll wait for that. We'll just see if it fires and hope for the best. I'll go ahead and hold. Sounds awful dry. I don't hear anything in there yet, but
Doesn't sound like the squirters are.
yeah, not squirting. But see, we're gonna see if it'll crank, and
Okay.
I'll try to run the throttle here.
See what happens. Oh.
Boy, I might have to get a shim or something.
Yeah, I don't want to
damage
it any more than that. I think we got starter shim issues. GM issues.
Wait over here by the throttle just in case.
Okay.
And, we'll touch it off and see what happens.
All right. We got some shims put in the starter. We're going to see if this sounds a little better. See if we can get it to crank over now. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Something's still not happy somewhere. We're back to day 3 on the Monte Carlo. Ran into some curveballs last time. The starter we had was not playing nice in the sandbox. We tore it apart, tried to mess with it for an hour or so, and it just wasn't happening. At that point, we kind of packed it up and decided we needed to get a few more parts to make the thing, do some other things. And we're back to try it again. So day 3, third time's the charm. Let's see if we can get this thing running. So like I said, we got a brand new starter. It's shiny enough, it should do the thing. If not, I guess we go back and get another one, right?
Yep.
Hopefully we don't need to do that. So let's get it put in the car. See what happens. All right, new starter's in. Got the battery hooked up. Fuel supply ran. A little primer cup.
Homemade. Bought a can of black spray paint just for that.
Yeah. A little in the bowl. Some down the yap. See what happens. You ready?
All right.
Hands in the fan.
Okay, you got that?
Yep.
I got this. That's good. So let's see what happens.
Alrighty. Oh shit. There it is.
Missed quite a bit.
She's running a little rough, but it's running. Well, you think it's running on what, 5 or 6 maybe?
Maybe. Carburetor down to the ground.
It is idling, but not very well. Got a gauge in there for oil pressure? Not saying anything, is it?
That line broke.
Ah, that's right, yeah.
I do have a piece I can put on there just to make sure we got some.
It doesn't sound like it's making it. It sounds like it's getting oil though.
Yeah. Sounds a little rattling.
It does. Well, there we go. First start in what, 13 years?
12, 13 years.
12,
I don't
13.
even recall. I don't remember.
Right. Long enough, right?
Right, it is idle.
Yeah. Until you got a cam in that thing.
I think that's just because the plugs are fouled up.
That may be.
I think we need some plugs, some carburetor, and now it's time after that.
You got that stuff here? Do you? Okay. Well, I don't think that'll take that long.
No,
You got a little fuel leak to take care of too.
yeah.
All right. Shut her down. Oh, we got a runner.
Yeah,
See if we can make her run a little better.
I think we can.
Okay.
It don't mean it'll move any better if we're in out of it.
That might not help things there.
As long as it runs.
That's right. We lucked out on the weather again. Another nice day for it anyways.
Yeah.
I think truck said it was about 70 on the way down.
I'll take all these nice days we can get.
Yes, sir. We won't get too many more, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
We won't have a lot though.
Not in Ohio.
Yeah, I don't even remember why I capped this off, and this was because that. It's one thing you learn over the years, things that aren't reliable, like the plastic tube.
Prone to breaking type stuff. Yeah. Probably ruin your day out on the track.
Yeah, you just begin to wonder, where's all the oil going
Yeah.
coming from? Sometimes you wonder, is it your car or somebody else's? That's why it's always good to carry a lot of little spare parts of anything. 'Cause
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to need.
Yep. That makes perfect sense. Extra set of plugs, some stupid oil lines like that. Hoses, I'm sure.
Yeah. A-lines, spindles.
Bigger stuff, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. I learned how to, well, one thing, the stock A-arms don't hold up.
Gotcha.
I had to modify a few of them because we weren't allowed to have aftermarket.
So you just kind of strengthen up the original ones.
Yeah, I would take, and, you know, either find like bar stock or something running behind that rib and mold it and weld it, you know, to help keep it from buckling so
Yeah,
much.
that makes sense.
And I don't think I'll run the whole new line to keep that way. Don't have to get in behind the dash. I'll just trim this one off and hook it up and see what happens.
These plugs over here, they look a little rich. Only one looks iffy.
Yeah, and the way that car's so dry,
Yeah.
it's hard to say.
Right.
It could have been full of who knows what.
Right. Yeah, definitely seen worse, though.
I'm just glad it started.
Yeah. That thing fired right up.
It surprised me after that many years.
That just says she wants to run again. She wants to race again,
Yeah,
Mason.
look at that. I thought it would be seized up. I really didn't have much hope on it.
Yeah.
But, you know, that, what was that? January, February, whenever it come up.
Yeah.
You asked me if it would still crank. I doubted it. So I walked up here one day and it rolled just a little bit. And I thought, that's surprising.
That's all you need right there. A little glimmer of hope, and
Right.
we can make the rest work. We got a family of maggots over here that are very unhappy that we heated their acorn nut home.
Yeah.
They're not having too good of a time.
Trying to find a new home.
Yes, sir. All right. So you had some plugs around here?
Yeah, they're right
Right in front of me. All right. And yeah, I didn't bring my plug tool.
let me see. Like that, I didn't even check to see what the gap on it was.
At GM HEI, we can kind of ballpark it probably between 35 and 40, and it'll probably run okay there.
Yeah.
Will it be perfect? Maybe not, but this has got to be better than what was in it.
On the engine.
Jump on in there.
It was a lot easier to me than.
This is back in the day where you could do that with a car.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, last I remembered, 30 plus 10 is 40.
It should still be the same, even though math has changed over the years.
It has, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's Common Core or not, but let's see. These must be gapped around. Huh? Went in. Should be pretty close to 40.
I don't think.
So.
They might have been like, I guess you could say pre-gapped.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
We'll
see.
go with that. That'll be good enough.
Yeah. I'm going to pull this off. Go ahead and change this carburetor out.
Okay.
I got a box of screws in my pockets rattling around. I was going to use them down here. I still will. I just didn't get that far.
Gotcha. I can get that carburetor put on. I'll get the rest of these plugs changed out. And we'll do a little before and after. Now, these plug wires look like they've been chewed on a little bit too.
It does, don't it?
Yeah. Apparently they were still doing the thing, so.
I might have some more wires in there too, if need be. We'll see how it sounds once we get the plugs. And
Yeah.
if it sounds like it's hitting on all cylinders, then
We'll leave them alone.
leave them alone for now.
Yeah. Upgrade as we go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all pretty close to 40, so that's good. Alright, we'll get these tightened down, then go on to the other side. Try not to be in your road.
Sorry. I am almost.
Cool. Alright, side one is done.
Losing the. I didn't realize I had a hole in the tranny cooler.
Okay.
You know, I ended up winning the race, and I pulled into Winter Circle, you know, for some pictures and everything.
Yeah.
And when I got back in the car to go back to the pits, it wouldn't move. And I thought that was kind of strange, but so I had the tow truck push me back to the pits, got loaded, and you know, after checking the car out, after when I got home, I realized I lost how much tranny fluid I lost.
Out of the tranny cooler because
Right.
you got a hole in it. Probably rock jumped up and hit it or something.
Well,
or...
just rubbing, and
Gotcha.
you know, sometimes the hoses rub, and these aren't always secure, and you get a lot of dirt, gravel, and
Oh, yeah.
everything else. It
Yeah.
I actually raced with this one guy one time. People thought he was bleeding to death because his oil cooler was inside the car.
Oh.
Sprung a hole in it, and they started spraying on him. They wondered why he was pulling off the side of the, you know, off the side, inside the track.
Mm-hmm.
And when the EMS and everything got over there to check him out, find out what was going on, they seen all that red fluid and thought he was bleeding.
Yeah.
Here was his transmission just spraying fluid all over him.
That's best case scenario there. Yeah, I'm sure it looked pretty bad at first. Remember this T-bucket I did last fall? I freed the engine up with transmission fluid. Boy, the underneath of that car, it looked like a murder scene.
I bet.
After that, it was pretty bad. Once it broke free and pumped it all out.
Yeah, there was a lot of good days there. It was a lot of fun for a few years.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It was. It got to be a lot of work, though.
Yeah.
You know, because like I say, the one year I tried to keep 3 cars running for myself and the 2 boys, and
That's too much.
it got to be too, because I'd have to make 3 different trips to the racetrack. One to get my car and their car. Luckily, I only lived 1.5 miles from Lakeville, and so I was able to get it all done.
Then you got to make 3 more trips at the end of the night.
race.
Oof. Yeah. I could see that being a handful, or not getting pretty old pretty quick.
Yeah. It was kind of fun for a while there, you know.
Yeah.
There's some races where we finished 1, 2, 3.
Oh, really?
Of course, Dad won.
Well, of course. You got to show them boys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it was a lot of fun. Okay, I'm gonna leave that choke where it's at. See if I can. I'll leave that other filter out because this has an internal filter in here.
Okay. Too short, dang it. See how long it is before I break this thing. About the same as the other side. It's a little rich, but they were burning. All right, just got done doing the plugs, all 8, gapped at 40. Mason's running to get some fuel parts for the new carburetor going on. I'll tell you, that's a good kid step stool right there. I'm every bit of 280 pounds. And it holds me. I might have to get a couple from my shop. Or talk Mason out of that one. We're getting close.
sir.
Find some stuff, did you?
Well, it ain't pretty, but I know I have stuff. But you know how it is, you can't find it when you need it.
No.
I'm gonna clamp this down so I can
Clamp it down on your workbench there?
I was thinking about it.
And maybe I
If I
can
can
put the
get
camera
that,
down and
yeah, if I can get that broke loose there without twisting it off. Well, I brought my hacksaw in case
in case we couldn't.
yeah,
B
'cause
it.
I don't know. I was gonna cut it short, but that might be too short. Let me see if I can break it.
Oop, let me get back up here on my little Tyke step stool that's holding me. Had to make a little modification to the fuel line. That looks a little better than what we had on there.
A little tighter. Let's see. That screwdriver.
That screwdriver right there. Yeah, that tightened down. We should be in business, huh?
Yeah, it shouldn't leak.
Plug that brake booster in, so that should be
Okay.
capped off. Looks like the rest of these here are pre-capped.
Okay.
That'll need to be fine-tuned and stuff, but we'll see how it runs out of the box. Yeah, I think I got them all plugged in.
They are pretty chewed up, Francis.
Yeah,
All right.
but it was running. So.
Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna work with that spring. See if this spring will fit on there. I don't think it's going to carry away as long as I have a hold of it. But I probably don't have anything to really hook the spring to. Yeah, not really. Let me try down in here just to. Oh yeah.
Perfect.
That'll return. Yeah, it'll return.
It'll be nice if the throttle goes back shut again. That'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, that's not good when your throttle sticks wide.
No.
I've seen people hit the wall because they couldn't let out of the gas.
Yeah, cruise control at the wrong time.
That'll actually test your skills too.
That's true. All right.
I've seen it.
I think you've seen a lot of things, man.
Oh yeah, I have. Sometimes you can learn from other people's mistakes.
Absolutely. We'll get our juice hook back up here. All right, new carburetor, new plugs. Got her wired back up again. Oh yeah, has it got any coolant in it?
It's got enough to
Okay.
Survive for a few minutes.
Perfect. I checked the oil. It's right about where it should be.
All right.
Transmission fluid, there's some in there if we get that far.
Okay.
Not worried about that right now. I think we're hooked back up live. I got the starter. Mason, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, man, let's see what happens.
It's gonna go or it's gonna blow.
That's right. Must have just ran out.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. It's still sounding a little rough, wasn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Not like carburetor tune. I think the idle does need to come up, but it didn't sound like it was running on all 8 either.
No.
I'm not sure.
Gauge is down to 0, but that don't mean the line ain't broken. So
Oh, that's right. You got that hook back up, didn't you?
I don't see oil in here, so I would think it would be spraying
If it was leaking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Double check the plug wires, make sure they're snapped on.
so 1, 8, 4, 3, yep, 6, 5, 7. I might have to find some different wires. Actually, I'm pretty sure I got some in there. It might be mixed match set, but
I got the firing order right, didn't I?
I would assume because
Yeah.
I checked over here.
Right.
They're all right. So
I tried to keep them
Um,
separate.
if you want, we'll see if it'll fire again and actually see if the oil pressure's coming up.
Okay.
It looks like there's oil in the tube here, but I didn't see the gauge in time to.
Okay. You want to fill the bowl again?
Well, see, it's spraying.
Oh, okay.
So go
Is it
ahead.
picking
and,
it up? All right.
Yeah, go ahead and.
Fire in the hole.
Yep.
Fire in the hole.
Maybe not enough. Let me get.
Huh.
Let me pull it up some. The tube didn't come out of the tank. Did it?
That's what I'm checking now. It's definitely down in there.
Okay.
Maybe it just needs a little more prime. Yeah, I don't think we got that far last time to see if it was pumping fuel. Well, it was leaking out of that hose.
Yeah.
So it had to have been.
Maybe the fuel pump is bad, but it seemed like as long as it ran a little bit ago, it.
Yeah. It wanted to work for a while anyways. All right, we'll try again.
All right.
Let me hold the throttle for you. You got oil pressure? Okay.
It's not great, but it's got oil pressure.
Okay. I think these things run on like 5 or 10 pounds anyways.
Yeah. Let me take a look real quick for some plug wires.
Okay. I think we're good. Switch some plug wires over. Some that aren't chewed up from mice or raccoons or whatever was in there. Did a little adjustment to the carburetor. Let's see if that makes any difference or not. We're ready?
I think so. I have to get some more fuel in it.
Man, it was pumping before that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
I wouldn't think. Wouldn't think. I'm probably flooding it. But
Oops. Alrighty. Ready?
Yep.
There she goes. A little bit. Yeah. Maybe it just needs a minute to come back around there. Yeah. Maybe a low compression or something, you know?
it sounds better, but yet.
Still not perfect.
There it is.
She must be pulling fuel.
That's a cold exhaust.
Anything shoot out of there?
What's that?
Anything shoot out of there?
I haven't seen anything. It's gas down, probably.
What was that?
Well, again, I kind of wonder about push rods and stuff.
stuck in the, I might end up having to pull the valve covers, make sure there's no bent push rods or anything.
Yeah. There's a little bit of top end noise in there. You said it had oil pressure?
Yeah, it's not great.
But some. It's pulling over 20. For a race motor, I'd say that's probably pretty good.
Usually you want more.
All right, yeah.
Don't we all?
At least it started pulling from the tank.
Yeah.
You want to see if it'll go in gear, see if the transmission works? Okay. Oh, it's in gear. Okay. I think it's in gear. The yoke's spinning. That might have something to do with our idle issue too, since it's under load already.
I guess I better not put it in park while it's still rolling because it might go.
All right, so we got a running engine, a working transmission. Well, we get something figured out with that diff.
Boy, it does sound terrible.
Now, I think it's getting better, but there's definitely something going on the top end there.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
I think you're right. I think valve covers need to come off and
Yeah.
check some things out.
It might be on the right side.
Yeah. I hear it more out of the exhaust than I do the engine area up here, but you can hear a slight knock.
Yeah. I'm just a little puzzled at the line exhaust off the right bank is cold.
Yeah,
Exhaust on the left bank is hot.
right.
Yeah, makes you wonder, do we have a couple 10-foot rods maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Valves that aren't maybe sticking, I don't know, broken, I don't know.
You know what though? You got a running engine, you definitely got a place to start. Hopefully your motivation's there now.
Supposed to get a little warm.
Yeah, might be time to shut her down.
Spin the fan real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Transmission must be on here.
Yeah. We got it running. It's not running great. Mason's gonna pull valve cover on the passenger side. Went down, checked the exhaust out. It's blowing warm air out the driver's side of the exhaust. Passenger side, it's cool. I'm thinking we've got compression issues somewhere. He wants to check the valve train out real quick. It's 4 bolts on a valve cover. We're gonna take a peek, see what we find. What'd you find? Oh. Yeah, that'll do it.
That'll make it miss.
Okay. Well, now we know.
Ouch.
A little warm?
Yes, it is. Don't get out. It's hot too.
Didn't look bent just pulling it out of there. We'd have to roll
Yeah.
it on something flat or whatnot. But
Right, or even kind of, if it wasn't so hot, you could almost, the ones that are loose, you could spin and kind of see if it rotates around the rockers.
yeah.
Tempted to slap that one back on real quick though and
We could try that.
fire it again.
Yeah.
See what it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
5/8 socket. Ratchet. May end up having to bump the motor to make sure that one's down and
Yeah.
easier to do when it's cold.
Makes it a little easier to work on.
Okay, I tell you what, I'm gonna leave it at that
Okay.
because it looks to me like that lifter's up right now, so we need to roll it to where it's actually down, and you know you can actually adjust it
Yeah.
somewhat. These
Okay.
are just hydraulic lifters. So
Right. Yeah.
my memory serves me correct. It's like you get all lash out, maybe go what quarter, half a turn or something.
I think so, yeah.
With hydraulic lifters.
Yeah. That might put it in the ballpark. Maybe what
Yeah.
happened here was one wasn't pumped up, and
Yeah.
maybe it won't be pumped up, but maybe it will be after running it for a little while.
Yeah,
and-
after setting as long as it has, I'm not surprised. Which
Right.
I'm sure that'll help it. It should sound a little better.
I would think.
But if you would,
Gonna crank it over and see if we can get it.
yeah, we'll just leave the distributor unhooked,
Yeah.
and yeah, we'll just bump it
Okay.
and try to get that lifter down,
Okay.
and then we'll tighten it up.
Let's do that.
You're on it while it's while you bump it.
Okay.
You're good.
Ready?
Yep. Go ahead. Again. Again. Okay.
Okay.
That'll be enough to get it close.
Okay.
If they're still not collapsed, I mean, after setting that long, a lot
Yeah.
it might just be collapsed.
Yeah. If we are trying to set it on a collapse lifter, this might not be the.
I think, and we may be, because see how far down I got the nut on the
Yep,
stud
I
compared
do.
to the others, and it's still
Yeah.
a lot of slop in there. So I think that lifter's probably collapsed.
Lifter, I guess worst case scenario would be a rounded off cam or something, right? But you'd have noticed that last time it was out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this wouldn't be a sitting thing, you know, rounding off a cam. So it's probably that lifter.
Yeah. If anything, we can just see if it'll start there. That's probably why I kicked it off the rocker, because the lifter was collapsed.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like I say, as far down as I got that cranked already, unless it's pulling the stud out of the head, I doubt it. But
It is already a lot further down than the
Right.
rest of them.
So I think I'm gonna kind of leave it at that. That's tighter than it was. That'll give it enough room that maybe if it bounces a few times, maybe it'll free
Pump it up. Yeah.
And
We'll be back in business.
yeah, I'll just like I say, just kind of stick the valve cover back on just to see how it sounds.
Okay.
With all the valves opening. Of course, we don't know if the ones on the other side are opening.
Right.
We might have the same issue.
But we had a warm exhaust pipe over there. This one seemed to be,
Yeah.
so
It was
leads me to believe those are working a little better than that one
right.
was
That
anyway.
would explain the sound we heard over here too.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so we got the valve cover back on. We gave that lifter a little adjustment. hopefully it'll come back. We're pretty sure we got a collapsed lifter, and that's what happened. But we're gonna fire it up again, see if it sounds a little better or not. Ready?
I'm ready.
It does sound better, yeah. I think the ticking noise did get louder though.
You can tell it sounds like it's firing. Man.
Yeah, yeah. It's up there. Yeah.
Alright, it does sound better, but it does need... I don't think it would hurt to pull this side off too.
Check those.
Yeah, because it sounds like it still has a lifter that probably stuck.
Right.
A few of them, but...
I think what we did, we came, we saw, we conquered, we set out to do what we were going to do. It's going to run again.
Yeah.
It just needs a little love,
Yep.
little tuning. Hopefully not a lifter, but maybe. Get the water pump hooked back up in the fan so we can get it cooling. We got a working transmission. I mean, there's definite hope for this thing, Mason.
Yeah, a little bit of work.
Yeah.
It'll be spinning the wheels.
Yes, it will. Yeah, I don't think you're too far off. This late in the year in Ohio, we're coming up on winter. I don't see it hitting the road, track, whatever you want to say this year, but next spring, I don't think you're too far off.
No.
Compared to where it was sitting over there in the weeds to where it's at now.
Never get a pulley put on it.
Yeah. Get your odds and ends.
Kind of write a list of what needs to be done.
Yeah. And it's to a point now you can kind of tinker with it. And
yeah, if it comes down to it, you know, just put another cam and lifters in it.
Call it good. Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully just make a enduro or something.
Yeah.
That's all I got who's for. Like I say, this class really doesn't exist anymore.
No. But there's still a place on the track for this car.
Right.
And maybe next spring we can get it there.
Maybe on the road too, as long as you don't see the blue behind you.
That's right. Not like the police are going to catch you, right?
I have to build my own track.
Yeah. I think we're going to call that a video, guys. We came, we saw, we conquered. It will run again. Maybe it'll see the track next year. Maybe we'll see that in the future on the channel. We'll see what comes. Got a long winter ahead of us. We're going to get bored, need stuff to work on. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.